Hey, what is up, guys? Ghost here, and today I'm bringing you guys all some more Black Ops 3, and this time I'm going to be going over the patch notes that we recently got. A lot of the guns, they got buffed, a lot of the guns got nerfed, and the Scorestreaks, of course, the big thing that everybody's talking about, they all got buffed as well. So I'm going to be going over all of that in today's video. Let's get right into the buffs and nerfs. So for the SMGs, the Kuda surprisingly got a buff. It has now less recoil, which is pretty nice. And the Kuda, to me, it's already a good SMG, so I guess that's just a plus for whoever uses it. And then the VMP got a nerf, another nerf. So basically what they did to it is they increased the hip fire spread, and then they increased the time to aim down sights. So now it takes a little bit of time to aim down sights, and then now you have an increased hip fire spread. So running a laser could be, pretty good on the VMP. And then next for the Weevil, I was thinking that if they were trying to buff the Weevil, they would probably buff the damage, but they did not. What they did to it was they just reduced the recoil. Like most of the guns here in this patch, they just reduce recoil, and that's pretty much it, which is nice. Just because after the beta, I noticed that some of the guns have a bit more recoil, because in the beta, guns like the KN-44, maybe even the Mothership and the HVK, like they kind of had no recoil in the beta, and then like when the game actually released, it's like, oh gosh, this is like Call of Duty Ghost recoil here. But I guess they're trying to like rescale the gun just back to where you can go ahead and use any gun you want. But besides that, the next gun that got nerfed, which is the Vesper, and they reduced the range of the Vesper. And I was noticing that when I was using the Vesper, you could nuke people at ranges with this thing, which is insane. It's supposed to be like an up close and personal SMG because of its insane fire rates, so they just nerfed the range, which is nice. And then moving on to the final SMG, they actually buffed the Razorback, they reduced the recoil, and they increased the range. So that's pretty much all the SMGs. The Razorback, Weevil, Vesper, VMP, and Kuda, they all got touched up and fixed. And then moving on to the assault rifles, the KN-44 now has less recoil. The XR2's movement speed has been reduced. Then the HVK, it now has less recoil. And then the ICR, it now has less recoil again, and then it also has a tighter hit fire spread as well. And then next, the Mothership, which I'm pretty happy that they actually buffed it, was that they actually reduced the recoil once again. And the Mothership does have a ton of recoil, so I'm glad they did that. I do notice a difference, so I really don't have to run a foregrip just to waste an attachment slot. And then the last and final AR that they actually nerfed was the MA-A7. Now it has reduced fire rate, so now it shoots a bit slower. And that's all the AR. So the M8, Mothership, ICR, HVK, XR2, and KN-44 have all just been fixed up. And then for the shotguns, the KRM-262 is now guaranteed 2 shots every time. So it's no 3 shots. So it's basically 2 shots every time. And then for the Breachy, they increased the range. For the Haymaker, they increased the range. And then that's pretty much all the shotguns. For the LMGs, only 2 of them got fixed. So the Dingo now has reduced recoil, and it has its movement speed has now been increased as well. So you move a bit faster with the Dingo, and you now have less recoil with it. And then the 48 Dredge, its fire rate has been reduced, and now it shoots a bit slower in between the bursts, I guess. And then for the pistols, the MR6 movement speed has been increased. And then the RK5, the movement speed has been increased as well, but now it does have less range. And then the LCAR9 got its movement speed increased, and it got its damage reduced, its range reduced, and its hip fire spread increased. So the LCAR9 got a huge nerf, and that's all the guns. That's pretty much all the guns got buffed and nerfed. And moving on to the Scorestreaks, the HCXD got its explosive damage increase. The Dart, it has explosive damage increase for collision explosions, has handling tuning, has minimum speed slightly reduced. So basically it's going to go a little bit slower. I guess that's a good thing, just so you control the Dart a bit better. And then the last and final thing they did with that thing is they fixed an issue where the Dart was not locking onto players, so now that's fixed, I guess. And then the Talon has now its AI has been improved basically. And then the Mothership, it has an increased number of missiles to destroy by 2, so now it's going to take instead of, I think it was 4 now. I'm not entirely sure how many missiles it took in the first place. It was either like 3 or 4. Now it takes like 5 or 6 missiles to destroy the mothership, which is nice. And then the turret explosive bullet damage has been increased, and then the turret projectile speed has been increased as well. So the mothership got a pretty nice buff. And then moving on to the Hellstorm missile, the cluster bomb explosive damage has been increased. And then the Rolling Thunder got a huge buff. So the Rolling Thunder's explosive radius now has been increased. The explosive damage now has been increased. And they added 4 pairs of those little drones that come down. And last but not least, they added more health to the drones as well. So next, with the Cerberus, it increased the missiles required to destroy by 1. And it increased the EMP grenades required to destroy by 1 as well. And with the GI unit, they increased the duration, so now it'll last a bit longer, and they decreased the time stunned when hit by an EMP. And lastly, they increased the number of War Machine hits to destroy. And then with the UAV, the Counter UAV, and the Wraith, they all got the same buff, which is they basically increased the health of all of those streaks, the UAV, CUAV, and the Wraith. And then with the Raps, they increased the number of missiles to destroy by 1, which is great. And then they increased the health per Raps drone, and they increased the explosive damage per Raps drone as well. And then the final one, the final Scorestreaks that got buffed, is going to be the Lightning Strike, and now it comes down a bit faster, which is great. So that was pretty much the patch notes that we got yesterday, and I'm pretty happy that they actually buffed a lot of the guns, and I'm happy that they finally nerfed the M8, because it was just so ridiculous of a gun. But that was pretty much the video, guys. It's a perfect time to try out the new scores, so you can just to see how they are. And same with the guns, just because it is double XP. So go ahead and try out everything. And that was the video. So thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.